restrict ourselves and tell ourselves that we can't have something, that's when we want it more. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Elaine. Welcome. I'm a health coach, a fitness enthusiast, and an activewear lover. Today we're going to do the health and fitness question and answer number 2. If you're wanting to send in your own questions, please send it to me at my email, ilaneyflex@gmail.com. It is also in the description box, or you can send it to me on Instagram, or you can participate in the question and answer sessions that I do on my Instagram at least once a month. If you're looking for ways to support me, pop over to my website, www.fitnessbeyondaesthetics, for all of my merch, my discount codes, my Amazon favorites, and anything else that you could be possibly interested in. Now, without further ado, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get on with today's questions. All right, before we get into it, I am drinking, what is this? Sparkling water, like lemon sparkling water with iced tea, 0-calorie iced tea mix. Tastes bomb. This is how I get my water in. And yes, I'm aware this is not my usual setup. It's nice outside. I wanted some of that vitamin D, even though I am filming inside. So we're in my living room today. Enjoy the change of scenery. Now, let's get on with the first question. So the first question, does anyone have any tips on controlling stress eating? I've been doing that a lot and it made me gain weight. If I could control it, then I could try to lose weight again. So when it comes to stress eating, if you are aware that you are stress eating, you've got to get to the root cause of your stress. What is making you stressed out? Are you feeling that you are too busy? Are you feeling that you're not happy with your job? Are you feeling too stressed at work? Are you feeling stressed in your relationship? If you don't deal with the root cause of your stress, you're going to keep stress eating. Let's say that you are having relationship issues and that's your biggest source of stress. Actually start addressing the relationship issues. Start communicating with your partner. When communicating in your relationship and when you're trying to communicate that things are not necessarily going the greatest, communicate from a feeling standpoint, from the standpoint of I am feeling blank, as opposed to attacking your partner by saying you never do X, you never make me feel X. When we start from a place where we're attacking our partner, that puts them on the defensive, and usually you will not have a very conducive conversation and you might actually end up in an argument. So if you're feeling stress in the relationship standpoint, that would be a place to go. If you're feeling stress within your career, that is something that you're going to have to evaluate for yourself. Figure out if you can set up boundaries within your workplace, but identify the root cause of the stress, and then you've got to address it. If you're just overall feeling stressed out, like you come home and you go to sleep, you're not really taking the time to relax and de-stress, then you've got to figure out what stress coping mechanisms work for you. So for some people that is meditation, for others it's going for a walk, calling a friend, anything that just gets you to relax, especially before you go to bed and start up the next day, is going to help you immensely with those cravings, those emotional cravings that you are having. On top of that, if you're someone who does not necessarily know what your coping mechanisms are, try starting with what made you happy when you were a kid. On top of the stress eating, you could actually try making sure that you don't have hyperpalatable foods in the house, which is like your chips, your heavily salted popcorn, like all of your packaged foods, your Oreos that you might end up stress eating on or binging on when you are feeling an emotional response, so that when you are feeling like stress eating, you do have healthier options in the house. Like for me, I have cucumbers, I have the 100-calorie packs of popcorn, or you could just buy normal unpopped popcorn and do it yourself. Of course, stress eating can be caused by a lot of things, but usually if you find the root cause and then you try incorporating stress coping mechanisms into your lifestyle, that should help you at least get started with reducing the amount of stress eating that you are experiencing. Question number 2, not counting cheat days. How do you give yourself a treat like ice cream or a donut during your weight loss or weight maintenance days when your sweet tooth is out of control? If you're someone who has a very sweet tooth and you're trying to reduce the amount that you're intaking of that specific craving, then you've got to do it in a stepwise fashion. If you end up just cutting it out altogether, which just sounds like this individual has, they only allow themselves to have these treats on specific days, you are going to end up wanting it more. When we restrict ourselves and tell ourselves that we can't have something, that's when we want it more. One way to kind of combat this mentally is to tell yourself, I'm allowed to have this whenever I want. I just choose to not have it now, or something along those lines. Or you could just do what I did and you could find a way to incorporate that treat or a healthier alternative of that treat into your diet on a daily basis. So some people end up having a couple squares of chocolate at the end of the day that still fits within their calorie or macro tracking goals. Some people will use fruit. They find fruit is a great alternative for whatever their sweet craving usually is. I like the 100-calorie brownies from Fiber One. Absolutely love those. And when you do want to have a higher calorie sweet treat, there should be no guilt associated with that, because at the end of the day, it's just food. The whole point of living a healthier lifestyle is to make it a healthier lifestyle, a long-term thing. You can't restrict yourself from eating donuts forever unless you want to. Some people don't have sweet tooth and they can be completely fine with that. But if you're someone who does want to have those foods in your life in moderation, then allow yourself to have those foods in moderation. What I would suggest against, however, is keeping a lot of hyperpalatable food in the house. So keeping a lot of chocolate in the house, or a lot of donut, like an entire donut container in the house, because what is more than likely going to happen is on the days when you feel like you don't want to cook and or you are low on food because you're coming to the end of your, your grocery shopping cycle, you are going to want to eat those hyperpalatable foods because they are just easier and they are more convenient in that moment. How I do it is whenever I'm having a craving for something, I go to the store, I'll go to the gas station and buy it, as opposed to keeping it stocked in the house all the time, where I know that if I'm feeling lazy, I'm gonna grab that food instead of cooking. Question number 3. Anyone have or had gotten rid of midsection fat? I know you cannot target one area for fat loss. Yes, girl. But did any exercises help in your opinion? I do cardio 3 times a week and gonna up it to 4 times soon. That's great. This individual knows that you can't target fat, which means that when you do certain exercises or when you are losing weight, you have no control over where the fat leaves your body. That is determined by your genetics, meaning that you cannot spot reduce fat. If you are doing core exercises because you think it's going to get rid of your abdominal fat or your midsection fat, that is not how it works. Unfortunately, you can do all of the crunches that you want, but your genetics are what is going to determine where you lose the fat from while you are dieting. Did any exercises help in your opinion? Like we said before, you cannot target fat, you cannot spot reduce fat, so there are no specific exercises that are going to help get rid of midsection fat, belly fat, abdominal fat, whatever you want to call it. However, being in a caloric deficit, meaning that you are burning more calories than you are consuming, will help you over the long term, reduce your midsection fat. However, like I said, that is determined by genetics. So some people, when they are in a caloric deficit, they will lose the fat from their abs right away, from their midsection right away, because that is what their genetics have determined. And they may lose the fat from their back last. Some people, when they diet, they might lose the fat from their face, their legs, their arms first before they even start seeing any progress in their midsection. I am one of those people where when I start dieting and when I start losing weight, I lose my boobs first. They used to be a double D at one point in my life. Now I'm like a comfortable C cup because I have lost weight, and I will lose the fat from my arms, hence why my arms most of the time now look jacked, even though I'm actually 10 pounds heavier than I was in December. And I'll lose the weight from my legs before I start losing the weight from my stomach and my midsection. And that is something that runs in my family genetically. My mother is like that. My aunt is like that as well. We just hold on to our midsection fat longer than other areas of our body. So there are no exercises specifically that will help with this because your genetics are outside of your control. However, still exercising, doing cardio, yes, absolutely, cardio can help you lose fat. However, the downside of cardio is you gotta keep it up. So let's say that you are using cardio as your only way of losing weight, aka you're not attending to your diet and being in a caloric deficit through your diet. When you do stop doing the cardio, and if you keep eating the same as you are, you will put that weight back on. So I usually recommend, if you're trying to lose weight and maintain it, incorporate resistance training into your routine, because resistance training or weight training, strength training, whatever you want to call it, weightlifting, when you are lifting weights, you are actively building muscle, assuming that you are feeding yourself enough protein to allow for muscle synthesis to occur. When you are building muscle, muscle is a metabolically active tissue, meaning that even when you are at rest, you are actually burning calories. So the more muscle that you do have in the long term, the more calories you will be burning at rest. So in the long term, even if you were to stop doing cardio, or if you took a month off of being in the gym and lifting weights, you will still have a higher metabolism, and you can maintain that weight loss a bit better than if you were only doing cardio in your routine. So those are my two suggestions. It is, well, first of all, you got to be in a caloric deficit, so you can do that through your diet, you can do that through exercise, or the best combo is to do it through both, and to incorporate resistance training into your routine if you're not already. You will eventually see weight loss in the midsection area, but there is no one on this planet that can predict when you are going to lose that stomach fat, that stubborn belly fat that everyone talks about, because that's based on your genetics, and there's no one that can actually predict that for you. And our last question number 4, what's the lesser of the two evils, carbs or fats? Neither. You need both. Fats are an essential component of your diet. You need them to survive. I did a video on fats and their functions and how you need them for hormone synthesis, how our cell membranes are made up of fats. It's linked up here somewhere, but you cannot survive without fats. And especially for women, because this affects men too, but if you go on too low of a fat diet, if you completely cut out fats, well, you're probably going to end up in the hospital, but it is going to screw up your hormonal system, because our hormones are made up of fats. So you need fats to survive. And carbs, once again, there is nothing wrong with carbs. Carbs are our quickest source of energy as human beings, and you can consume them. Carbs inherently are not evil. Carbs inherently are not bad. Carbs will not make you fat. The only way to gain weight is to overconsume your calories, and most of the time people are overconsuming their fats and their carbs and their proteins all together. It is not one macronutrient that is solely responsible for weight gain. It is a combination of all of the macronutrients and overconsumption in general. So please eat your healthy fats. Please eat your carbs. Please stop demonizing individual macronutrients. There is nothing wrong with either carbs or fats. Everyone has their individual preferences. Everyone's body feels different on different macronutrient ratios, and that is something that you've got to figure out for yourself. When it comes to your weight loss journey, you've just got to find what works for your body and what will be most sustainable for you in your diet long term. You've made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. I hope that you found the information in this video useful. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down in the comments below. Comment below what is the health and fitness goal that you are working on for this month or for this week, whatever you have set for yourself. Comment it down below. If you're looking for ways to support me, pop over to my website, www.fitnessbeyondesthetics.com, for all of my merch, my discount codes, my Amazon finds, and anything else that you could possibly need. Don't forget that I'm affiliated with peachbands.com, peachbands.ca, oglmove.com, oglyoga.com, and escapeswimmer.com. Use code Elaine on any of those sites for anywhere from 10 to 15% off all of your purchases. I appreciate you being here. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Always remember that your mindset is everything. Watch the other videos on the screen, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.